4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for giving us your attention. I'd like to welcome you to Student Council speeches, as you will be electing officers for the 2018-19 school year. We're going to ask that you please keep your noise level down, and that you give each candidate your attention, and that you hold your applause until the end of each speech. We want to make sure that we can get through every speech in the allotted amount of time. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our current President and Vice President, Emma Dans and Jack Mendelson.
Hello and welcome to this year's Student Council General Election. As you know, my name is Emma Dans and I've been serving as your president this year.
My name is Jack Mendelson. As you probably don't know, I've been serving as your Student Council Vice President this past year. Student Council is Harriton's student leadership organization, putting on events such as Mr. Harriton Made on the Main Line and the pep rallies, as well as other school-related events such as Spirit Week. The Student Council officers also fill other roles within the Harriton community, most notably as the link between the students and the LMSD staff.
The Student Council has as many as 100 members, but is led by 5 student leaders. Today, the 10 candidates who remained after the primaries will address you, giving their qualifications and ideas, and asking for your vote for their respective office. You'll have the opportunity to vote on your top choice for the 5 positions, and by the end of the week, next year's officers will be elected. We'll begin with the President, the role that I've been serving this year.
The President leads the Students' Rights Committee, which seeks to address issues that affect the student body. Its goal is not only to listen to problems facing students, but also to act upon their concerns in order to improve the high school experience of as many students as possible. The Students' Rights Committee provides policy recommendations to the school board and administration and creates proposed policies of its own.
When there is a pressing issue, it surveys the student body and analyzes the results in order to give a comprehensive view of the perspective of Harriton students on topics that affect them every day. The President is Harriton's highest-ranking student leader. These speeches, along with every other position, will be presented in alphabetical order by first name, by last name. So, without further ado, here's our first presidential candidate, Lauren Levy.
Good morning, everyone. Almost 1 year ago to the day, I stood before you, asking for your vote to make me the next Student Council Sergeant-at-Arms. I talked about how my freshman year, I had a color-coded map of Harriton that I carried around with me for the entirety of the year because I was constantly lost. I also spoke about Mrs. Marcusen's clacking heels that I could hear from a mile away. Now that I am a junior running for Student Council President, I can confidently tell you that my color-coded map is gone, and I can probably pinpoint the exact mood of Mrs. Marcusen based on the sound of her heels in the hallway. I'm not looking to overthrow the administration or cause an uprising within our school community, but I am looking to follow in the path of our current president, Emma Dans, who has shown us all how to lead with both grace and confidence. I understand the responsibility that the presidency entails, and I am prepared to take on that role. The most important job of the president is being the guiding voice and the voice of reason within the officers. As an active member of our school community, I understand the responsibility that comes with leadership. And if I was in charge, Nikki Kotler would never have been able to perform at Mr. Harriton wearing those tights. I have shadowed all 5 officers. I did try shadowing myself, but obviously didn't work out so well for this entire year. And I have learned what a true leader is. A true leader values and supports the distinctive voices and opinions all represented here in this gym. I'm not going to stand up here and make a slew of promises that everyone knows won't come true, but but I do have some ideas that will certainly better our Harriton community. 1, reach our fundraising goal of $35,000 at Mr. Harriton, which we were so close to reaching this year, while simultaneously surpassing last year's fundraising total. We provide the single largest donation to the Lower Merion Scholarship Fund, and through this, we are able to provide scholarships to send Harriton grads to college. Isn't that amazing? 2, work on improving mental health initiatives at school, and also work on improving the START form. And 3, bring back club funding, as we didn't have any this year. I know that there are so many incredible clubs here at Harriton, and it would be a disservice to not provide them with the resources so that they can succeed. And thanks to our positive relationship with administration, this student council's positive relationship, let me be the first to tell you that day of service has been moved back to the spring for the next calendar year. The experience that I've gained from expanding Made on the Main Line, organizing pep rallies, increasing student involvement in Quidditch, creating Music Fridays, overseeing Mr. Harriton, and from babysitting Jack Mendelson has certainly increased my knowledge fourfold and allows me to say that I am confident in my ability to serve as student council president next year. Now, all I need is your support. Remember to vote Lauren Levy for student council president. Thank you.
Once again, that was Lauren Levy, candidate for president. Up next, we have Zeke Milrod. Also.
Good morning, Harriton. First and foremost, I am proud to be a Harriton Ram. Our academics rank among the top in the nation. Our Science Olympiad team is on a 20-year-long state championship win streak, and our football team, is improving. Our girls tennis team made it to states. Again, our boys soccer team is on fire, like every other year, and the percussion ensemble, they sound decent. All the activities, clubs, sports are incredible here at Harriton, and I'm proud of that. Needless to say, I am lucky to be considered a Harriton student. However, I've come to the conclusion that as happy as I am this year at Harriton, there still are some things that need to change. After all, who wants another year of no Mr. Harriton videos, no day of service in the spring, and of course, no use of the courtyard? Harriton, I want the same exact things that you do. After all, another reason for me running for president is because I know you, Harriton. I know what you want, and I know what we need. And what we need is change. Therefore, not only will I be your candidate for the change that we need, but for the change that can actually happen. Now, throughout this election, you may not have seen my campaign posters hanging up along the walls, but there is a decent likelihood that you have in fact seen my, well, rather inappropriate video. You know, the video where I was born to lead. Anyway, although that video did not pass the administration's cut, my approved video does hold true. I am the underdog in this election, but that does not mean I'm the victim of everyone's doubt. Look, the reason why people latch on to the underdog story is not only because no one expects them to win. It's because they run faster. It's because they push harder. And it's because they get stuff done. Harriton, the online free sign-out sheet will happen. Activities to alleviate stress like bringing in puppies during midterms, will happen. And there will be microwaves and utensils on the second and third floor during lunch and learn for access for all. Now, Harriton, if I'm your president, not only are the options endless, but they are doable and will actually happen. Bottom line is, a vote for me is a vote for the change that we need. So remember, vote Zeke Milrod for your 2018-2019 Student Council President. Thank you, Harriton.
That was Zeke Milrod, candidate for president. Now we turn to the race for vice president, a role which I have been serving in this past year. The vice president leads the events committee, which conceives, plans, and implements all student events with the goal of creating a more unified student body. If the vice president steps in if the president is unable to lead, and the vice presidential position is a very respected one. You don't need to laugh, I just want to chuckle. To start off, Abby Brosting, candidate for VP.
Hey Harriton, my name is Abby, the Process Pearlstein, and I want to be your next vice president. Now, if you see my campaign posters around school, which hopefully you have by now, then you know that I've been using the slogan, trust the process. I want to make it very clear that I didn't pick this slogan because the Sixers and Joel Embiid made it cool, which we all know they did. I picked it because I think it says a lot about who I am and the kind of vice presidency that I'm going to run next year. The Philadelphia 76ers had a plan and they stuck with it. They laid out the steps they needed to take in order to be successful and executed it. I want to do that same thing here in our community. And while there are so many things that this school does beautifully, let's not forget the areas of the school in which we can improve. Now, in my experience, some of the classrooms are very cold while others are very hot. And I've also felt like the current distribution of parking passes can be kind of unfair. But both of these things are such easy fixes that can make our lives so much easier. However, there are some other areas that are not so quick and easy. And that is when you need Abby, the Process Pearlstein, to step in. I'm not afraid to make some of those hard decisions that are necessary to improve this school. All right, guys, now let's cut to the chase. Mr. Harriton. And yeah, as vice president and head of the events committee, Mr. Harriton is most definitely the biggest event of the year. And I want you guys to understand why I am the best person to make that night as fun and successful as possible. I want you guys to walk out of the gym in a couple of minutes with a pretty good idea of why I'm perfect for this job. And the reason is simple. I know this school better than anyone. Well, except for Ms. Marcuson, maybe. I've seen the artistic culture of Harriton by participating in HTC, but I've also experienced that competitive nature of the athletes by being on the tennis team. Not only did I work backstage for Mr. Harriton this past year, but I have been on council for the past 3 years. I know how much time goes into making these events possible, and I'm promising each and every one of you right now that I'm 150% committed to giving in that time. So, when you're emailed that ballot later today, and you're deciding who to vote for, just remember to trust the process and vote, 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 vote for me.
Once again, that was Abby Pearlstein. We now turn to Valentina Spadia, Vice Presidential candidate. I'm just going to take this time to remind you to please be quiet while people are talking. It's respectable.
Hi, I'm Valentina Spadia, and hopefully you already know that I'm running for Vice President. If I'm lucky enough to be elected, I will implement audience voting in Mr. Harriton, a Spring Spirit Week, develop an incentive system to reward spirited students, all while facilitating better communication between students, council, and administration. I've really enjoyed my time in Harriton. I've been lucky enough to be the stage manager who runs the entire stage crew for Mr. Harriton for 2 years in a row, a co-chair of the events committee twice, and I'm the head and a member of quite a few clubs. In fact, as a freshman mentor, I was lucky enough to show my 8th grade brother and all of his friends around our school. I was so excited to hear from my brother what his friends thought of Harriton and of my tour. The response, "Your sister's such a tryhard." Honestly, it triggered the 5 stages of grief. First, I went through denial. Did he really say that? Then, anger. He didn't really say that. Next, bargaining. Maybe I shouldn't be such a tryhard. Then, depression. Oh my God, maybe I am a tryhard. Finally, acceptance. You know what? I am a tryhard. And I'm gonna try my very hardest to be the best vice president for our school. I'm gonna run the greatest Mr. Harriton and be the best vice president I can possibly be. Vote Valentina for vice president. Thank you.
And once again, that was Valentina Spadia. This concludes the speeches for the vice presidential race. Now we will return to the race for secretary. This year's secretary was Ben Feldman. The secretary leads the communications committee, which creates and distributes all internal and external communications, including but not limited to emails, websites, newsletters. The communications committee publicizes events in conjunction with the events committee. And the first is Shaka Ramanathan, candidate for secretary.
Hey Harriton, my name is Shaka Ramanathan, and I am running to be your 2018 to 2019 Student Council Secretary. Let me start off by answering some questions that you probably have right now. 1, why am I qualified to be secretary? 2, what will I do as secretary? And you may think I'm running for treasurer, but don't be mistaken, that's Roshni. Luckily, I have answers to the 2 questions. Over the past 3 years, I have been a dedicated member of Student Council, contributing in every way possible and learning about the process of putting together Spirit Weeks, fundraisers, and of course, Mr. Harriton. One of the Secretary's most important jobs is to put together all of the artwork for Mr. Harriton. And having spent countless hours working on the art for Mr. Harriton and the posters, I know that I'm qualified for the job. I've also learned about Harriton itself. After being in various clubs such as Academic Decathlon, Debate, HSL, Speak Up, and being a freshman mentor, I have seen how amazing our community is and all the different possibilities that we have. I have so many ideas to make our school even better, and even though I'm not as talented as Walmart's prized yodeling boy, I can promise that I will work incredibly hard to make these a reality. I want to improve communication between council and the student body through the implementation of weekly emails and the use of social media, so that we're better aware of everything going on and what events to attend, and simply better connected as a school. Any idea you have, I can't wait to hear it. Additionally, I want to make phone chargers available to students, and I want to have larger and better school spirit events. I've been lucky enough to have shadowed former Secretary Sonia Grunewald and this year's Secretary Ben Feldman. He did an amazing job, and after spending so many hours after school and during freeze, working on Mr. Harriton art and working with the communications committee, I understand all of the hard work that this job requires. I want to be secretary so that I can represent every single one of you, and I promise that I will give 200% to this job. Thank you all so much, and vote Shaka for secretary. Shaka the vote!
Thank you, Shaka. Up next, we have Nadia Romanazzi, candidate for secretary.
Hey Harriton, my name is Nadia Romanazzi, and I hope to be your next student council secretary. Have you ever wondered who put the alphabet in alphabetical order? Or if Cinderella's shoe fit perfectly, why did it fall off? Or why people call our school Harriton? Well, I may not be able to answer these questions, but I do know I can be a great secretary. I have leadership, experience, and energy and ideas. I'm an officer of the World Language Club, and I've been on the Student Council Communications Committee for the past 3 years. This year, as one of the co-chairs, I worked closely with Secretary Ben Feldman and learned even more about what the position of secretary entails. The secretary oversees the Communications Committee, which is in charge of getting word out about student council-run events like Quidditch, Spirit Week, and Made on the Main Line. I've spent countless hours making posters for these events and working on the art for Mr. Harriton. Besides making posters, we get the word out through Instagram, as many of you may know. But did you know that 2 years ago, there were only about 100 followers? But now, after working hard for the past 2 years, that number went up to over 800. This year, I hope we can reach even more of you. After all, one of the main functions of the Communications Committee is to communicate to as many students as possible. So another idea I have is to invite student organizations and clubs to use the Student Council Instagram platform to help them get the word out about their meetings and activities. I think better communication could help raise the turnout at school and sports events, and in turn, raise school spirit. Another function of the Student Council is to be a voice for the student body. If I'm elected, I'd want to know what your ideas are for Harriton. Some things that have been suggested in the past are opening the breakfast table earlier in the afternoon and having class wars to raise school spirit. Communication is a two-way street, and I see the role of the Communications Committee as not just getting the word out to you, but also finding out what you want to see at Harriton. I want to keep building on what we've already accomplished and make fundraising events like Mr. Harriton and Made on the Main Line even better. I have experience, ideas, and I'm ready to hear your ideas too. So vote Nadia for secretary. Thank you.
Once again, that was Nadia Romanazzi. This concludes the speeches for the race of secretary. Up next, we have treasurer. This year, the treasurer was Olivia Ebner. This officer leads the finance committee, which is in charge of managing expenses, maintaining the budget, and charitable contributions. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everybody that this is not easy standing up here and speaking, especially a lot of them for the first time, so we ask that you please be quiet and put your phones away and keep your heads up and give them the respect that you would like to have. So we're going to start with Roshni Parak.
Hello everyone. My name actually is Roshni Parikh, and I'm running to be your next student council treasurer. So before I say why you all should vote for me this year, I want to be upfront with you and first explain the things I'm not so good at. For one, I am atrocious at dancing, so I sincerely apologize to those of you who saw me at prom this weekend. I've also had my driver's license for over a year now, but have no idea how to get anywhere without Google Maps. I've never had a real job, so I'm sorry if you were confused, but no, I'm not the girl that works at Dunkin' Donuts. I also have no educational degree of any kind. In fact, I never even graduated high school. So, after all this, from perfect. But I want to explain why you should all vote for me and what makes me the perfect person to be your treasurer. For one, I want to work with others around school to try and make organizing events easier for students. I also want to redesign school apparel to help create more school spirit. Some of the other ideas I have are to create charging stations, bring back the cookie grant, and try to put tissues in all the school classrooms. Now I know some of these ideas may work, some may not, or maybe they'll all be terrible. But hey, we might as well try. I've also been extremely lucky this year in being able to shadow Liv as one of her finance co-chairs. She did such a wonderful job as treasurer, and after spending so much time with her, I truly understand what it takes to be successful and meet the expectations this position entails. So I know most of you have just been pretending to listen to me this whole time, but if you take away anything from my speech, I want you to know that I don't want to make any promises about the things I will do next year that I can't keep. The one thing I can promise you, though, is that I will work my absolute hardest to make Harriton the best it can possibly be. Thank you, Harriton. I love you all, and don't forget to vote Roshni.
Once again, that was Roshni Parikh, and we now have Adele Wilkin, also candidate for treasurer.
Hi, Harriton. I'm Adele Wilkin. I'm a sophomore, and I want to be your treasurer. They say I have 2 minutes to talk, but time is money, so I'm not going to waste any of it. As your treasurer, I would work to incorporate non-student council leaders into the fundraising process to help us build a stronger Harriton community and increase the funds we can give to the amazing charities that we get to work with. Many hands make light work, right? I would work towards a better Mr. Harriton and one where we will finally reach our $35,000 goal, which we were so close to this year. On top of that, I would increase the student body understanding the goals we set in council. Other areas where I would want to make improvements are smaller things, like working with Miss Wilson Harvey on putting soap and lotion in more than just the third floor girls' bathroom. Making changes like that would improve the quality of our days at Harriton and hopefully give us a little bit more fun. Further, I would work towards a greener Harriton and improving our recycling system. Thank you for your time. I hope you choose to vote for me for treasurer.
Adele Wilkin. We'll now go to the race for Sergeant at Arms. This year's Sergeant at Arms was Lauren Levy. The officer leads the internal planning committee, which focuses on recognition of Harriton students, planning the annual icebreaker retreat, maintaining an open line of communication among student council and other Harriton clubs and athletics, maintaining the accountability system, and keeping attendance and order at all meetings. We begin with Robert Cho Fleming, candidate for Sergeant at Arms.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Robert Cho Fleming, and I'm running to be your student council sergeant at arms. Not for the first time, not for the second time, but for the third time. You know what they say, third time's a charm. Failure and experience are the best teachers, because as a wise man once said, there's no mistakes in life, only lessons. I'm ready for the moment. Like the ones that have defined our high school experience this year. Mr. Harriton videos, wait, that wasn't supposed to be in here. And of course, the Eagles won the Super Bowl and Villanova won the national championship. While we might not be skipping school for parades every year, one thing has stayed constant in my time at Harriton. I have shown how much I care about our student body. I'm a 3-year student council member. I've raised hundreds of dollars for Mr. Harriton, and I'm a co-chair for the internal planning committee that the Sergeant at Arms chairs. Most importantly, I've shadowed not just the current Sergeant at Arms, but also the one from last year and the year before. So clearly, I must know something about this position. Let me tell you about my ideas. I want to make Music Friday more accessible. If you elect me, I will have a school-wide survey, so you guys can vote on the theme for Music Friday. I also want to make color printing available to students. Trust me, color printing will get you better grades. But more importantly, let's do Food Truck Friday. We all love Chef Mo and his late bird special, but let's be honest. Who can go for some Qdoba on a Friday at school? Honestly, I think that the Instagram comments on the Harriton Student Council post say it all. Damn, can we give this guy SIA already? Noah Carpel. And wait, you're still running? Hashtag world's longest campaign. The man, the myth, the legend, Ricky Reports Sayer. In all seriousness though, I really do love this school, and I want to help make it a better place. So remember, let's make some Flemonade and vote Robert Cho Fleming for Sergeant at Arms. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. We conclude with Max Mesro, candidate for Sergeant at Arms.
Good morning, Harriton. This election presents us all with a clear choice. It's a choice between maintaining the status quo and electing leaders who will bring fresh ideas and heat to the office. The future depends on our ability to work together. Cooperation and teamwork will get us far. If you elect me as your Sergeant at Arms, I vow to lead with openness and honesty, with your best interests in mind, and welcome all ideas for making our school better. I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this, and I believe my experience and personality will allow me to rhyme like that, so I'll have the ability to shine like this. Above all, I believe my most important job will be to listen to you and communicate with you regularly. I know we need more places to relax and unwind during the busy and stressful school day, so I propose we get new furniture for both inside and outside the school so everyone has a place to alleviate their pains. Y'all thought I was finished? We're gonna work to unblock Netflix! Let's go! As your Sergeant at Arms, I will be open to all Music Friday requests. If elected, the first Music Friday of the year will be a tribute to the one and only Meek Mill. Vote for me, believe in me, and watch your dreams unfold. Free Meek, thank you! Candidates for president, we have Warren Levy and Zeke Milrod. Candidates for vice president are Abby Pearlstein and Valentina Spadia. Candidates for secretary are Shaka Ramanathan and Nadia Ramanasi. Candidates for treasurer are Roshni Parikh and Adele Wilkin. And the candidates for sergeant at arms are Robert Cho Fleming and Max Mesro.